What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Namra podcast. I'm Russ here with Ashley and Sahil on a Friday afternoon in the Namra studio, as always. And we wanted to bring you guys some information as there's lots of platform changes and updates being made on Facebook, Instagram, Google, you name it. All these platforms are making massive changes. We want to dive in and give you some advice on how to tackle that and handle that moving forward. Theme song. All right, so Sahil, why don't we start with Google, because I think that's one of the things that has given most of our clients a panic in the last 2-3 months. At some point, many different situations can cause these, but let's just dive into like what changes have been happening, how is it affecting people, and then later we'll go into how they can better work with them.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's been Meta and Google both. Some of the common updates that we saw on Google's end was them getting rid of the Google My Business app, moving that management platform over to Maps and Search, and they've just been working on a whole slew of other updates, and in particular to AdWords, getting rid of smart campaigns, just moving more and more towards their more advanced, campaign manager. Meta has also just been wrapping up their update cycle, so it's just been, lots of new functions and functionalities being released on Ads Manager, a lot of things being removed. So what this is leading to is just, people are seeing this on the smaller scale, where on the day-to-day it impacts them and presents themselves as like common bugs, or buttons may have moved, or they might not, they might have been very used to running a ad a specific way, and now if they do it that way, it's just getting rejected. So these are some of the things that you're going to see, especially as they wrap up their update cycle. Like so if you're seeing some bugs while you're trying to schedule out a post as you normally were through Creator Studio, and you notice, when you scheduled out the post, it didn't go out at that time, even though if you go back into Creator Studio, you can see that it's still scheduled. Things like that. If you're so used to running like boosts and ads a particular way, and now if all of them are getting rejected and you don't know why, things like this, this is going to happen. There's just a whole bunch of changes happening, and we're seeing them on a day-to-day basis. So, I think just staying calm, like while all of these changes are happening. Like, don't think like, your Facebook's broken or you've been hacked or something like that. It's very normal, especially after, Facebook and Google release their update cycles. There's always lots of bugs, and they usually fix them gradually over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the general thesis there is just don't panic, right? We want to make sure people understand that this is just part of it. We've been doing this for almost 7 years now. We've seen so many updates to these platforms and little glitches here and there where we can't edit something or something doesn't publish the way we wanted it to, whatever it is. We've seen it forever. So we don't panic when something goes a little bit wrong for a week or two. We know that eventually these things are going to get worked out. The Facebook team is on it, and the developers usually work out these glitches within, a week, 2 weeks, depending on how big it is, or it could be months if it's a huge development. But either way, they're on it. They're aware of it. You don't have to freak out.
Yeah, and it's, before when these platforms came out, there used to be maybe a couple bugs here and there because they were so small. Their functions and technology itself, like it was in its beginning stages. So maybe, at first, okay, maybe there was like a timeline blackout, remember? And then everyone was like, oh my God, like, is your Facebook blank? Like when you go, like everyone had the same bug, and, everyone got the consensus pretty quick. Like, okay, Facebook's just down, no big deal. Like tomorrow it'll be back up again. But these platforms have advanced so much over the last few years that the bugs are all over the place. From normal day-to-day functions of posting and scheduling content or engaging with brands, to higher level stuff from implementing ads, seeing analytics come through and so forth. So they're all over the place, which is why you hear it from different people, different issues that they're having, which kind of causes this like, oh my God, like what's going on?
Yeah, that's such a good point.
And the more functionalities come more bugs and things over time.
Yeah, they're just all over the place. And as these tools continue to advance, like there's just going to be more and more because they're just that big now. You know, just imagine like Creator Studio even. Like imagine the thousands of functions that Creator Studio has. And that's just one part of Meta, right? Imagine the thousands of possibilities on Ads Manager. And you know, so yeah, it's easy to freak out about just like a button moving and and something like that. But no, there's a lot happening, and yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something to say when it comes to not panicking. If you get comfortable with the fact, like, okay, I know that there's bugs and things like that, it can really help your day-to-day, just kind of knowing how to move past it. Like, for example, today I had to draft a bunch of posts that I had scheduled in Meta. I just needed to revise them, so I went to move them to drafts. And when I click like move to drafts, it just for some reason says failed to publish. And that, you know, it's a big red symbol, failed. It doesn't look correct what I was trying to do, but it's like my mindset's just like, okay, obviously I can see them in draft and it's going to keep going. So it's like the more you get comfortable with these things, it might not look right. Just the easier the day-to-day can be.
Well, that's the thing, like being familiar with the platforms is so important.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Like you just go to drafts, click it if you see it.
And if you know what button's supposed to be there, you can find it.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
you can be like, okay, like at least I know what I'm supposed to be trying to do, so I can better troubleshoot. But if you're brand new to these platforms, you started a Facebook page within the last year, you're just getting into the Meta Business Suite. I mean, you're gonna freak out if a button's not in the right place. You're not used to how constantly these things change. So just kind of another reason it's sometimes good to have an expert on your account just for backup reassurance.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I think,
extra pair of
you know,
eyes.
just as quickly as these update cycles happen and the more and more they just introduce every time, I think we're definitely getting closer to the time where, you know, almost gone are the days of, okay, hop on YouTube and learn this function really quickly and then just go and do it. Because, you know, by the time you master that particular thing that you're trying to do through YouTube, you log onto the platform, the buttons are moved around, maybe that function doesn't exist, you know, and by the way, I'm not saying you can't self-teach yourself a skill. Like, you know, YouTube's great for that. I'm just saying in particular to this, it's, you know, 4 years ago, if you were trying to teach yourself Facebook Ads Manager, like great, like a YouTube course or a playlist, you might have just, you know, you were able to learn the basics pretty quickly. These days, it's like none of them are relevant because like the videos are already kind of outdated to the recent updates that have come out.
Yeah, there's no way.
We're definitely getting nearer and nearer to the point where, I mean, it's my belief that you do need at least, you know, someone that you can consult with or an expert or someone helping you because these tools are getting more and more advanced.
Especially, yeah, definitely. Especially how social media has grown from just sharing your life to business. Like, I'll think about what you said, for example, when I first went on Instagram when I was a lot younger, and it's just like sharing pictures. You have these filters here, and that's it. And now there's like a shop, explore page, various ways to post videos, and yeah, it's a lot. And it can be a lot to teach yourself. And it's constantly changing. So you can teach yourself one thing, and then it'll change again, and you got to teach yourself again.
That's it. Remember the original Instagram logo, like the brown one with the. It was a. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's amazing to see how social media has changed in that way. Like, I'm honestly amazed by it, but
it's a great point,
just kind of having someone to ask, like, hey.
Because if you do remember when Instagram first came out, literally it was just a plus button in the middle.
Yeah.
And it was
that's why it's
just
gotten
a
so
photo.
complicated.
It wasn't even videos, remember? It was just a photo.
I think I remember when they introduced
and just
video.
imagine.
Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, imagine what it's become today. It's still that. It's just that the functionalities have gotten so advanced.
Yeah. Well, even when it was video, it was like 15 or 60-second videos. And then IGTV was groundbreaking because you could post a 25-minute video or whatever it was.
And then there was no vertical videos.
No vertical. And that was the whole thing, was realizing,
that's
everything could be vertical. And
That's actually such a great example of adapting and then teaching yourself something and having it change. Because when I first discovered IGTV, that was something I had to just teach myself. I'm like, okay, here's where it is. There's a separate app for it I can use. I have to make a thumbnail for it, make sure it fits. There were so many steps that I taught myself. And then Reels were introduced. IGTV was kind of like, okay, bye.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's a good example of just kind of going with
it's
the flow.
It's actually gone now, too.
I think it is gone,
Yeah, it's gone. because
Yeah.
now every video is automatically uploaded as a reel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
It's
rid of it.
wild. And that's the thing. It's like the platforms are trying to be competitive and change with the market too. So something like TikTok comes in and just blows everything up with
yeah.
IGTV. It's like we need Reels and YouTube Shorts and Facebook
Everything
Shorts and
short
all this
videos,
stuff.
yeah.
That's actually a perfect example. So if you think back to IGTV, right? When IGTV first came out, they created the IGTV app, which you were able to, any videos that were over 60 seconds, you were able to, create your content, have it on your phone, go on the IGTV app, and upload it through the IGTV app.
that's
Like
right.
that was the way of posting long form videos. Now IGTV app gone, right? And so like imagine the person that was so used to doing it that way, and now if they try to figure out how to schedule, a vertical long form video right through Creator Studio, that's going to cross publish to, all devices. Like it's pretty tricky.
Yeah. The different
and then you have to
formatting.
figure out the thumbnail sizing and how to upload the thumbnail and the preview cover and profile cover.
It's like
By
so
the way,
many elements to get used to again.
yeah. By the way, real preview cover is completely different than the profile cover, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
See,
so
that's
all these
something I
small
kinda figured
things,
out.
all these small things, it's
Yeah.
so much has changed. So yeah, you're going to definitely see bugs.
Yeah, it's hard enough to get by. It's even harder to be super savvy and proactive, like on these platforms now. It's one thing to just get by and be like, oh, I learned how to post a vertical video. It's like, okay, great, your phone records vertical. You can figure that out.
Yeah.
But it's still, that's an adjustment. But it's really hard to like be savvy enough to, like, you see a lot of influencers now, like screenshotting Facebook post or screenshotting a tweet and then uploading the screenshot as a video reel just so that it becomes in the discovery section, because they know a photo screenshot is not going to do it. So it's like, to get to that next level where you're like really savvy in growing a page, you need a whole other level of experience with these platforms and knowledge of kind of how to like growth hack in a way. Mm-hmm. So it gets very complicated, but that's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. And I think something you had mentioned can be a good idea too when it comes to troubleshooting, especially even having experts on your side or just someone to consult with. It's like, if you could just go on to the app yourself and just kind of see what's going on, that can even help you have better conversations with who you're consulting with and just what you want for your brand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think to Sahil's point as well, it's harder now than ever to just go on YouTube and learn how to use one platform or another, because by the time the YouTube video is edited and made, the platform's been updated. It's like what we used to say about textbooks. It's like, well, a social media textbook is no good because it took them a year to print it.
Exactly.
And everything's changed by then. And now it really is true because things are changing daily. So even a YouTube video made last week is out of date. So the only way to really gain the experience needed to be able to like troubleshoot and not panic when things change is to use these platforms yourself and really like dive in, figure out how they work on your own business page. Just figure it out. Take 6 months and like dedicate an hour or two a day to it. Do your own business posts. Just grind it out, because then you're going to be in a way better position to either outsource those jobs, those tasks that you know are involved in doing it right, or you'll be better, equipped to continue to do it yourself at a higher level and be more comfortable. So I think that's the only way to learn now, is sort of by doing.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. And it's, I think it's like what we do is just like mistaken as like, okay, you're just gonna, you're just sitting on a computer and we're just banging out some posts. And
How
stuff.
long does it take to post on Facebook?
It's a very specialized skill these days now. Before, when it first came out, you were able to go
Just
on
upload
YouTube,
a photo.
learn the basics and stuff. Like imagine. Like today it's the equivalent of like never having used a smartphone and then you jump right into the iPhone 14.
Right.
Like imagine how you're gonna feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
feel
It's like-
I feel awkward on my iPhone just because I had an Android for the first like 5 years of my smartphone
happens.
career, and then switching to Apple, I'm like, oh, I missed a lot of like progressive iOS updates where iPhone users just kind of know how these phones work, and there's a lot of like hidden tricks that I don't even know.
Right.
And that I'm still discovering on it. So yeah.
No,
Yeah.
and so that's exactly what's happening. And even if you do, digital marketing now has advanced to the point where like now, even if you do spend like, hours on YouTube, like it's very hard to catch up unless you've just been doing this every single day. So like every, update here and there, you can easily catch on. Like, we run ads every single day.
Right, so we
it's
notice.
like if like one thing moves, okay, like we still know the functionality, like okay, no big deal, it moved from here to here and all. So it's I think in particular to this, like having someone just to even ask questions to goes a long way.
Yeah.
In terms of digital marketing at least, and what it's become and what it's going to continue to become. Right.
And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about right before we started rolling, of like the best advice, the best strategy for social media, aside from obviously learning how the platforms work and just developing a comfortability with it, is being consistent with your content. Not necessarily like trend chasing and forcing yourself to do whatever is like going crazy right now on Instagram or TikTok, but just to be consistent on all the platforms that you're on. And even if that means you only have time to be on Facebook and Instagram right now and you can't mix in TikTok and YouTube and all these other things, that's fine. Just do as much as you can and be consistent with the platforms that you are on, because consistency is the only thing that increases your odds of one of these posts really adding value to your audience and going, micro viral, as we say, like in your actual target audience and bringing in some business, bringing in some awareness about you. Consistency is the main strategy that we can overarchingly give, no matter who you are, what your business is. That's the best general advice. And, what video to make, obviously we need to know you, your audience, and help you make a list. But that's the best advice to anybody, is be consistent.
Yeah, consistency definitely first, because even when you're brainstorming a content strategy for yourself, if you can't be consistent with it, it can be the best one, but it'll still, it's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it does change, to Ashley's point. Things change so much. You can't just try to figure out the algorithm, because you're going to be trying to figure it out forever. It's a constantly moving target. It's unchaseable. You just have to make videos that people like, that people in your audience will or might like, and keep trying new things and being consistent. That is the only way to guarantee some level of growth over time.
Along with constantly doing consistent by doing it. Like I'll notice posts will get a lot of reach, a lot of attention, and then a post even like the next day not get as much, and just kind of experiencing that, trying to take down, okay, why did this happen, and just moving on. And so, I think doing it yourself and being consistent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, sometimes these platforms, they do come out with reports and they let people know like, hey, what are we kind of looking for in terms of like, in how content is ranked and how it appears and stuff. But the thing is it changes so rapidly every single day that no one knows how the algorithm works. It's like, imagine shifting your entire content strategy for minute by minute updates, right? Like, because Google can come out today and say like, hey, you know what? Like, we really like it when people upload quote graphics. And then like 5 seconds later, they might be like, you know what? Short form videos, that's what we're gonna like what are you gonna do? It's like, it's not that like the algorithm's not in your favor, it's gonna constantly evolve. Just remain consistent with what you can do and just keep on doing it. You're gonna get different audiences with different things, and so that's why it's very important that you mention consistency first. Don't try to time the algorithm or hop on a trend or something. It changes.
So Ashley, you're using and publishing on MetaSuite, Facebook, and Instagram all the time. So what little things have you found like not to panic on when you see like something that's not working?
Yeah, so a few times in the last few days, I've had clients reach out just asking for help editing a caption on either a boosted or a post that was run as an ad, or just a Facebook Reel, which is a recent new feature. And I figured out just kind of by going on there and trying to edit the caption that you can't edit captions on Facebook Reels. And that's just something, I did a quick Google search and it's like, this isn't a feature for any of those things. And then kind of figuring out how to relay that to the client, like, hey, it's just, we can do this, we can do that, but it's just not a feature yet. So it's just kind of some little bugs that I've noticed in the last few days.
Mm-hmm. And most things too, like just another little PSA is like most things are Googleable. It might not always be like the latest, like if something just broke, there might not be like a pretty, like an obvious solution on Google right away, but a lot of general issues that you could be having on Facebook or Google or these bigger platforms, you're just not sure like where to go from here. You may be able to find on Google if you search hard enough and look on different forums for solutions.
Yeah, exactly.
They may be out of date, but they may help.
Especially some of these little things like I always have Google as the next tab up, and especially with the caption thing, I was like, this seems like something I can maybe figure out quickly. So I'm just like, oh goodness, I'm just like, can you edit? Oh my goodness, can you edit captions on Reels? And then it's like no. So.
Yeah. Well, if it's something that big
embarrassing.
too, okay. If it's something that big too, there's more likely a forum about it, like recently.
Exactly. Like a forum or even Reddit or something or Facebook forums. Yeah.
The biggest thing I've noticed and warned, clients about is during these increases in bugs, normally during update cycles, you get a lot of emails from quote unquote like experts or agencies that can help you, reactivate your ads manager that's been banned or quickly, troubleshoot whatever issue it is that you're having. Do not press those links and log in.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a really good point.
Yeah, phishing. Yeah, it's more often than not, it's a phishing scam. It's sometimes yes, Facebook does reach out to you only if you've like submitted like a support ticket, or if you have like notifications on for when like your ads are approved, things like that. Then they do send like automated kind of meta just notifications. But if you're getting, hey, I'm so-and-so from, your Meta concierge team, and I'm just here to help you solve it. It's like, no, it's more often than not, they know you're having these issues.
Meta won't just reach out to you.
Yeah, it's like, don't click on any links or log in. If you're confused about who it is, or if you're confused about like the legitimacy of the email, like, okay, ask or Google it. More often than not, like people will say, hey, this is spam, or Facebook will have community guidelines that say, hey, if you receive something from these people, it's not us. But just don't click on anything. Yeah. Because they don't ask you to log in through your email. You're most of the time already logged in when you're troubleshooting these things.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Someone who's trying to help you won't need a bunch of personal information right off the bat.
They're not sending a change your password auto link to your Outlook email just because,
Meta's not working. So
that's why it's important to know like kind of how these platforms work, because it's way easier to get tricked into something like that if you don't know like, oh, that email's not even associated with my Facebook, or why would they need to get into my personal account to help me with my business page if they are Meta? Like you should know that. You should know that they are inside your business page already. Like it's their platform. They can make edits from the inside. They don't need to log into your personal page just to help you with business page stuff.
Exactly,
So it's just like general awareness of how these platforms work is kind of important.
Yeah, it went up with the rise of two-factor authentication, because now you get text straight to your phone, and you do think it's them, because like when you need to log on to something and you get a code sent to your phone and stuff like that. So they are targeting people by phone too now. And on a phone, it's very rapid. At least email, someone's actually going to take the time to read it or actually look at it. But if you're texting, just like clicking quick, like if you get a quick text message, like, your Facebook account has been compromised. And if you have two-factor authentication on your Facebook account, you might think, hey, it's actually Facebook. They're just warning me because I have my phone on there. It's like, no.
Yeah, always log in yourself. Don't click on links. Yeah,
exactly.
Because you can find out pretty quickly if you just go on your own page.
Yep. That's good. Good personal digital security advice there.
Right. Since we're on the topic of that, same thing's been happening on Google as well. If you get an email about, hey, we'll help you claim your Google My Business listing, or your Google My Business listing has been deactivated, or we can help you get it back, and so these are all spam as well.
Okay. I think that's like really good information for everybody. Hopefully that helps you guys use and be a little more comfortable with what you're seeing on social media when you are kind of diving into Meta for the first time and figuring out how these platforms work. But always feel free to give us a call or send us a message if you have any questions, because things can get confusing, and that's what we're here for. As we move into the fall, it's late summer now, it's beginning of September. As we move into fall, we know the holidays are coming, and we can already feel in our office things are getting busier. Summer's over. I think people are starting to really like ramp up their social media again after a slower summer, which always happens. And we are starting to think already about the holidays, because what we have learned is that the earlier we can start scheduling all these holiday posts out and get the ads going, the better on our end. We're just a little more at peace internally when the actual holidays come around. So we want to put a PSA out there to all of you. If you are planning any sort of holiday promotions during December, January, let us know as early as possible. Let your marketing team know, even if it's not us, as early as possible. We know they'll appreciate it too. October is probably the latest you want to finalize your holiday planning. You should really be planning it now and have it finalized and delivered to your marketing teams by mid-October, I bet, at the latest for most companies, because it takes a lot of time. We all get slammed during the holiday season with all of our clients needing, twice the promotional materials than they usually need. So the earlier you can get it into us, the earlier we can guarantee it's going to get out on time and just delivered successfully as a campaign, and not have any last minute changes or delays when it comes, a week before Christmas and you're making last minute changes. It gets really tough. So
yeah, because just remember. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's more so in particular to like promotions, any higher end like shoots, and particularly ads. Right. It's like we can certainly just get that last minute ad up and running for you. Here's the downside in doing that. During October, November, December, or OND as we like to call it, like it's the 3 months of just holiday rampage where everyone is just ramping up like e-com and their ad spend and things like that for promotions. So what ends up happening is if you try to get an ad approved last minute, you are often stuck in the approval stages and your ad never even runs because they just have so much to filter through. So at least if you have like an idea of what you're going to do for, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, whatever it may be, having that ad ready to go, structured, because you can choose when the ad's going to start, and that will always start on time, but having it just go through the approval process, have it ready to go, so that way when your start date hits, it just starts running. That's huge. Like it's not even about internal capacity. It's more so like, hey, you want these ads to run, or otherwise you're gonna miss your holiday season, right? It's it's last minute. They do not get approved. It takes so long. We've seen it year after year. It's just And people have these like, hey, I have this last minute Christmas sale. Like, I know it's just 3 days before, but we got to do something. It's like, cool. Yeah. Like we'll do it for you. No problem at all. But just, hey man, like this didn't get approved. Like it didn't run. They probably didn't even look at it.
Yeah. And at that point, it's obviously totally out of our hands. That's just the Google ad approval process. If it doesn't
Google
go,
and
it doesn't
Meta.
go.
Yeah. Google and Meta, like, and we've noticed even right now, sometimes through the weekends, Meta doesn't approve their ads, which is interesting because, it's now the topic is becoming, hey, like when you do have like a review process, are people actually scanning these ads, or is it still just software and machines? Because on the weekends, like some ads aren't being approved, but like all of a sudden, boom, like Monday morning, approved, ready to go. So it's like, I have noticed that on my end where there's lag time over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Well, that may be a sacrifice that we make for the quality checks, like actual humans checking all of the ads. It's going to slow things down, but it's going to help the quality of the ads and make sure there's less scammy promotions out there.
If you're prepared and you get it done ahead of time, there's
well, that's why we stress this, because that can happen from one year to the next. Like last year, everything's approved
You can have a
7
Facebook
days of the week.
blackout. You can have a Facebook blackout during that's
Yeah.
out of your control. That has nothing to do with promotions. But hey, what if the app's not working on the day that you thought you were gonna make your viral
Exactly.
video
And that
go
happened
viral?
to us a year ago too.
It's like
Facebook was like
Yeah.
down for a whole day, and
Yep.
that's happening around Christmas time when you thought you wanted to do it. Then it's like
20% of your holiday sales ride on Facebook ads.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
before you know it, it's just like a bad holiday season just because
didn't
you
prepare ahead
did a
of time.
last minute campaign on Facebook, you know?
Yeah, that's something too. Like the earlier you prepare, the more you can reach people, and the more at ease you'll feel too. Because if we're at ease and we're able to quality check and do everything we need to do, then
Right.
you'll obviously feel at ease as well.
Yeah, we want to be able to tell you, like, hey, let's actually set up a meeting to brainstorm this. Let's strategize this. Like, let's benchmark, a couple campaigns. Here's some split campaigns. Now, out of these, okay, let's go with this campaign to run for your holiday season. We want to be able to do that for you instead of, it's 2 days before
Panicking,
Christmas Eve, and you're
quick
like,
video.
we haven't even tested it, and we just have to let it run, because you're pretty much blindlessly investing ad spend at that point and just hoping for the best, which usually doesn't work out well.
No, it's just a shot. It's a complete shot in the dark. It's a shot from the hip when you do a last minute campaign. And it's important for people to know, like, a really effective campaign. Like, if you told us we have one product and we need to sell as much of this product as possible, we'll tell you, give us 6 months, because the first 3 months are going to be video production and testing different types of ads, different types of graphics, videos to see what works best with a small budget, a conservative budget. And then once we actually know what ads are the most dialed in, what converts the most to your website, that's when those second 3 months are more of like the full-blown campaign. And that's if you have that time. Obviously we do a lot of campaigns on shorter notice because that's just kind of what happens. We don't get the call 6 months prior most times, but
we're always here for you. We just want you to
I'm
be
saying
in
a perfect world.
It's like
in a perfect marketing world,
Yeah.
that would be like a standard social media marketing campaign where you were really looking to like give it everything you had, invest in a good, honest campaign. We would say give us 6 months so we can really do some proper testing, try out different ads with different audiences, get it dialed in, and then ramp up your budget in those the second half when we know what's working, and that's how it's done. So the more time you have for that test phase and then the final implementation phase, the better. 4 months is better than 2 months,
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, unless you have a campaign that's like, hey, like walk into our liquor store. All the items are going to be 90% off.
Yeah,
Flash sale only today. Well, yeah. Okay. Last minute campaign that amount, but
At least we can prepare.
majority
for it.
of the campaigns are not like that. So it's like, do the preparation.
The other thing too is ads are more expensive in the holidays too because more people are buying ads.
Bid
right?
caps are increased. More often than not, you will be spending a little bit more per the call to action that you're looking for.
So it's fair to say, like, if you get your timing right, at least you got your timing right, because it's already going to be a little more expensive than advertising in other parts of the year. So at least get your timing right. Make sure you're not delaying that already too expensive campaign.
Right.
Make sure it actually is implemented properly on time and you don't lose any traction, because other people will have it out on time and you'll end up fighting those ad dollars against their ads that are already running and approved, and it could get delayed even more, and it just ends up being a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, like the key there is just making sure the campaigns are running on time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a campaign running in November, you're gonna see that higher bid count because it's November. But if you are that person who already has their ad running compared to these other thousands of people that are stuck in the approval process or are just now trying to implement an ad, they're going to see a much higher number because you were already, pretty much locked in. Because you can set bid controls. Not every ad has to just be open controls. So if you've already set that and you know exactly how it's going to run and you have the proper metrics, like the number that you're looking for, then it's just letting the ads do their thing, and then you revisit it and build off of that momentum.
Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anything else on that?
No, I think that's the drive home message. Yeah, it's just if you're running holiday promotions, definitely try to prepare well ahead of time. You do not want to be stuck in the approval stage where, one, your ad might not run at all. Two, if it does run, paying significantly more ad spend. And three, not having just blindlessly going into it hoping for the best when you actually could have prepared, did a little bit more homework and implemented a more effective campaign.
Yep. And as Ashley said, just peace of mind. Knowing that you already got it done means you're going to have a much more relaxing holiday season, and that's good for everyone.
That's what everyone deserves.
Yep. So hopefully this is helpful, guys. Again, never hesitate to reach out. We're always here to help. It's what we're here for. Thanks for listening.